I remember the moment she said it, like it was etched into my memory forever. Her eyes sparkled with triumph, her lips curling into that smug smile I had once adored. "I finally tamed you," she whispered, almost giddy, as if she had unlocked some secret code to control me. For years, I had thought our marriage was a partnership built on mutual respect and love. I had been patient, forgiving, accommodating, often bending for her, smoothing over arguments, and swallowing my pride to keep peace. And now, standing in the living room of the house we had shared for 7 years, I realized she thought she had won. My name is Jason, and for 7 years, I had done everything a man could do to maintain a marriage. Sarah, my wife, was beautiful, smart, and charming, the kind of woman who could make a room stop and stare. But behind the charm was a hunger for attention, control, and the thrill of making me dance to her whims. In the beginning, I didn't notice. I thought her intensity was passion. Her demands were love expressed in her own way. Over time, however, the subtle manipulations became clear. I tried to address them gently, diplomatically, hoping to restore balance without igniting conflict. That morning, I watched her unpack her victory like a trophy. The subtle flick of her hair, the careful way she arranged her coffee mug on the counter, the way she spoke to me with a tone that suggested superiority. Every detail was calculated. "You finally admit it, Jason," she said, voice soft but triumphant. "You finally see that I'm the one who runs this marriage." I let her talk, letting her feel the illusion of control. That was my choice. Patience had been my ally for years, and now it would serve me once more. She didn't notice the subtle shift in my demeanor, the quiet calm that had settled over me. I had planned this for months, though she didn't realize it. Every document, every meeting, every careful move had been part of a meticulous strategy. She assumed she could manipulate, guilt, and pressure me into submission. She assumed I would bend under the weight of her expectations and the fear of disrupting the life we had built. But she underestimated the one thing she never could control: the resolve I had quietly nurtured all these years. And now, as she braced herself for the domination she believed she had achieved, she had no idea the storm that was about to arrive. My calm wasn't resignation, it was preparation. My next words would unravel the image of control she so desperately clung to, and the truth in my hands would speak louder than any argument, any plea, or any manipulation she had ever attempted. I took a deep breath, letting the silence stretch just long enough to make her uneasy. Her smug expression faltered slightly, a flicker of uncertainty passing over her face. "Jason, what are you thinking?" she asked, a subtle edge of doubt creeping into her voice. I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I let her revel in her perceived victory for a moment longer, letting the tension build. "You really think you've won, don't you?" I finally said, my tone calm, steady, but carrying a weight that made her pause. Her eyes narrowed, searching mine, trying to find the familiar man she thought she had molded. "I finally tamed you," she repeated, this time with a hint of challenge, as if daring me to contradict her. I smiled faintly, not the smile of defeat, but the quiet confidence of someone who had anticipated every move she had made. Then I let the words fall, deliberate, measured. "You thought so, yes, but you forgot one thing, Sarah." Her brow furrowed, the triumph faltering, curiosity and fear mixing in equal measure. "You forgot that taming someone doesn't mean breaking them. It only exposes what they've been holding back all along." Her lips parted, a small, nervous laugh escaping. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice almost fragile now, stripped of the earlier bravado. I reached into the folder I had left on the kitchen table the night before. The one she hadn't seen. The one she assumed was merely bills and routine paperwork. I slid it across the counter toward her, letting it land with a soft thud. "These," I said, voice low but deliberate, "are our divorce papers. Signed, filed, and ready. Everything you believed about control, manipulation, and taming. It ends here." She recoiled slightly, eyes wide, her carefully constructed confidence crumbling before her. The shock was palpable, an almost tangible wave that filled the room. For years, she had wielded power over me subtly, with quiet ultimatums, veiled criticisms, and relentless demands. But now, in that single moment, the power shifted irrevocably. The illusion she had built around her supposed mastery was shattered. I watched her try to gather her thoughts, to muster a reaction, but nothing came. I didn't gloat. There was no triumph in shouting or mocking. This was not about cruelty. It was about justice, balance, and the quiet satisfaction of a man who had finally reclaimed his agency. Every smile, every taunt, every word she had used to convince herself she had won was now reflected back at her in the undeniable clarity of reality. Her hands trembled as she reached for the papers, but I remained still calm. "Read them," I said simply. "Understand them. And maybe after this you'll see that taming someone never truly works the way you think." For the first time that morning, I saw her truly vulnerable. Sarah sank onto the couch, clutching the papers as if they were a lifeline, though they were nothing more than a reflection of reality she had refused to acknowledge. The triumphant gleam in her eyes had vanished, replaced by disbelief, shame, and the creeping realization that her perceived victory was gone. I stood across from her, calm, measured, letting her absorb every second of the reversal. There was no anger in my voice, no rage in my gestures, only the quiet authority of someone who had finally taken control of his own life. "You thought you could control me with your words, your manipulations, your little games," I said, my tone steady. "But control is an illusion, Sarah. You can influence, intimidate, and persuade, but you can never own someone's will. And now the illusion ends." Her lips quivered as she tried to respond, but no words came. She had built herself a world where she was the victor, where every slight, every argument, every tension in our marriage was a badge of her dominance. And yet here she was, confronted with the undeniable truth that her victory had been nothing more than smoke and mirrors. I moved closer, keeping my voice soft, almost conversational, though each word carried a weight that pressed against her defenses. "You see these papers? They're more than ink and signatures. They're the culmination of every choice you made, every manipulation you thought would bind me. And now, they are proof that nothing you do can change who I am, or what I will not accept." Tears streamed down her face as reality sank in fully. She had miscalculated, overestimated her power, and underestimated my patience and resolve. For years, I had tolerated subtle slights, endured emotional games, and endured the tension she thrived on. But now, with a single deliberate act, I had reclaimed my life, and my dignity. She looked at me then, truly seeing me for the first time in years. The woman who had believed she could break me now faced a man who had outlasted her every ploy, every word, every expectation. No threats, no shouting, no vindictive acts. Just truth, preparation, and unwavering resolve. I finally spoke, letting the words hang in the quiet apartment. "You thought you won. But the truth? You didn't tame me, Sarah. You merely revealed the strength I had all along. And that strength is what ensures I walk away, whole, free, and unbroken." The room remained still, heavy with the aftermath. Sarah's sobs softened into quiet breaths, and I knew the lesson had been delivered. I had not acted out of malice, but the consequences were undeniable. Today, control had shifted, and for the first time in years, I felt the weight of liberation, the clarity of agency, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that some victories are earned silently, deliberately, and eternally remembered.